Well, we're here. We are friends at election eve. It is the night before November 5th, the final day to vote. I am filled with a range of emotions, as I'm certain all of you are. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. Grab your mocktails, your cocktails, your pets, your plants, whatever gets you through, but we're going to get through it together. Welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. Well, friends, it's election eve. And I woke up today and I was feeling, I don't really know how I'm feeling, to be honest. I am feeling a significant amount of anxiety. I'm feeling a significant amount of crazy. I tweeted earlier and said, we really should not be expected to work this week. I feel pandemic levels of fatigue, anxiety, and stress. And what do I mean by that? Well, I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, you know, I couldn't go to the grocery store without needing to take like a 90-minute nap, meditation, walk after, because that's how terrified I was and how worried I was about everything and everyone around me. And I feel similarly right now. I am so worried about everyone and everything around me. And so, you know, I want to set the tone of where I think that we need to be in this mindset. We need to understand truly um how we got here and what's at stake. And I think that all of you know, and I am so appreciative to you all tuning in across platforms and across channels. If you are watching this on Mary's channel, Mary Trump's channel, hello. And please make sure to subscribe and like over here at the Danielle Moodie Show as well. And if you're watching this on Twitter, hello. And I refuse to call it the other thing. I mean, I would call it a shit show, but whatever. Um, I want to remind us of how we got here. And then I'm hoping that this show will walk us to a place where we can enter into tomorrow feeling like we've done every single thing that we can. Because that's how you should feel tomorrow, is that you did everything that you possibly could. You talked to your friends, you talked to your family, you voted, you made a plan to vote, you talked to other people about making a plan to vote, you donated, you showed up here, you showed up in other spaces, you showed up in community, you shared articles and messages to tell people just how important this election is. And this is just a little bit of a reminder of where we were 4 years ago, which may not play because the gods don't love me today. And that's fine. But here is the image, folks. Where were we? We were in a moment where Donald Trump had told his followers to go take their country back, where Donald Trump had been lying to all of his supporters about the election being stolen, where Donald Trump had said very clearly and plainly that this election was fraudulent. Mail-in voters were a sham. They filed over 60 lawsuits, friends, 60 lawsuits. All of them laughed out of court, right? Rudy Giuliani now without a law license, right? Disbarred, unhoused, owing $150 million to Miss Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the two election workers, mother and daughter, whom he slandered in Georgia. That all happened, right? It was not just a figment of our imagination or a nightmare. This scene right here, which should have been a video that played, but it's not. This scene right here is Donald Trump's creation, an insurrectionist. He told people and they believed him. And he's doing the same thing right now, which is saying that there is no way that he could possibly lose this election unless it was stolen. Right now, the Republican Party filed a lawsuit in Georgia, friends, to stop people from literally physically handing in their ballots to polling stations. They're suing 7 districts, all Democratic leaning, but here's the gag. They're doing the same procedure in Republican districts, but they're not interested in going after those. So what we have to understand is that tomorrow is really the beginning of a longer battle. Tomorrow is the last day to vote. But it's going to be days, dear friends, of counting those votes. And that doesn't mean that things are fraudulent. It means that we're going to do our due process, right? Because, just a reminder, ain't nobody stole the election in 2020. It was a free and fair election like all of our elections have been. Caveat, asterisk, 2000. But that had nothing to do with voters and voting machines. It had everything to do with the Supreme Court and George W. Bush and Al Gore. A story for another day. So I want us to really understand that over the last week, there are a lot of people in this country that just were waking up to the fact that there was an election. While all of you may have been tapped in and dialed in, as God knows I have been for what feels like a millennia, many people, Madison Square Garden, the Nazi rally, was their first moment of, something may not be right here. I kind of want to walk through all the fucked up things, the fuckery, the fuckdom that happened in just last week. And friends, it's going to amaze you because it shocked the hell out of me that all of this happened in 1 week. And then I was wondering why I was so exhausted. But Tim O'Brien has an op-ed up right now at Bloomberg. And the title of it is "Trump is unfit for the White House. Don't let him back in." And here's the quote that he says, quote, "Trump is a deeply unwell man, a juvenile delinquent, so attached to fantasy, conspiracy theories, bigotry, violence, and fascism that he's uniquely unfit for the White House." I want to bring you 2 major pieces that he lays out. And folks, again, all of the things that he is talking about literally happened last week, if I may. He writes, if voters had different priorities, there are plenty of them to think on. They could have started their week pondering whether Puerto Rico is a, quote, floating island of garbage. America was being sabotaged by, quote, the enemy from within. and if Vice President Kamala Harris is a Samoan Malaysian low IQ candidate. As the week went on, Trump, who was found liable for sexual assault, told women he would, quote, protect them, quote, whether the women like it or not. He also asked voters to consider how Liz Cheney would respond in combat with 9 rifles trained on her face. Reminisced about the serial cannibal Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and patted himself on the back as a genius for lunar, unintelligible, oratorical salvos he calls the weave. Oh, but it goes on. On Friday evening, he simulated performing masturbation and oral sex on a microphone in front of supporters. He took to the hustings on Sunday, clearly shaken by a poll suggesting Harris had leapfrogged him, likely due to women's concerns about abortion, and might be leading the race in deep red Iowa. That spurred familiar diatribes about vote rigging. By Sunday, he was telling Pennsylvania rallygoers that he erred in leaving the White House after he lost the 2020 election. He also joked about reporters being his preferred buffers for assassins' bullets. Y'all, that was just last week. That was Sunday to Sunday, right? We started with the Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden, and we ended with Donald Trump saying that reporters should be killed. The darkness that Donald Trump is exhibiting is absolutely and extraordinarily wild, but it should not be taken lightly at all. This reporter here said, even for him, who has been reporting on Donald Trump for quite some time, has said that his message has gotten extremely dark. So dark, in fact, Donald Trump is wearing, I don't know if you all have noticed this, a black trench coat when he gets off the plane, and they're playing, I guess, the theme song for The Undertaker as he's getting off the plane, which, according to folks on social media, is actually a funeral march. If I'm running for president, I'm making my closing argument how horrible things are going to be in America under me. And rather than bringing you in to, let's say, oh, I don't know, brighter days with things to look forward to, Donald Trump is preparing us for a funeral. Elon Musk, I told you last week, said that Trump's plans for the economy are going to have people dealing with necessary short-term hardships in order to receive long-term prosperity. Now, that motherfucker has no intention of having any hardship. He has no intention of actually paying his fair share. He has every intention of continuing to get the kinds of tax breaks that don't even have him paying out maybe 5% of his worth. But he is going to dictate, this multi-billionaire is going to tell us that we need to buck up as a people while he's building a $35 million fortress for him and his 11 children and wayward women that decided to sleep with him. The audacity, dear friends, is at an all-time high. And I just want us to understand that I have said from the beginning that Donald Trump, as time ticked on, was going to get increasingly desperate. And for somebody with this much power, desperation is actually incredibly dangerous. And so this is where we find ourselves right now, with Donald Trump playing the Undertaker. Yes, he was an original wrestler from the 80s. Donald Trump is obsessed with the WWE. Hence why Hulk Hogan is always hanging around and spoke at the RNC. Remember him ripping off of his t-shirt? Because Donald Trump likes fake shit. Let's just say that. I mean, you can look at his wives, you can look at the women that are around, you can look at the men that kiss his ass, and you can look at the WWE. He loves fake shit. He loves performance, right? And unfortunately, those performances are increasingly dangerous because people think, right? They act on them. They act on them. I told you last week, 18-year-old white boy arrested in Florida for what? Wielding a machete. Wielding a machete at poll workers. At poll workers and people trying to vote. And he's with his MAGA stuff on and wielding a machete, threatening people. Inshallah, he'll go to jail, right? And he'll be tried because what are we doing here? And because I can't play any of the videos that I have, I will tell you this. Philadelphia, amazing DA took to a press conference where he is telling people, this is Larry Krasner in Philly. And I don't know if we have any Philly people watching. Philly does not mess around at all. And this DA said that they have taken and gone through extensive lengths to make sure that people will be safe tomorrow on the final day to vote on election day. And he said that anybody that wants to play militia, they're going to fuck around and find out. He said it multiple times over that you intimidate people, right? You want to play games, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You're going to fuck around and find out today. And it was gorgeous because I said, that's right. Instead of law enforcement either linking arms with these motherfuckers, right? Because we know that many people inside of law enforcement are pro-Trump and, love the ability and the green light that he gave them during his administration to rough people up. But I want to hear more people like the DA talking about, we're ready for you. We're not afraid of you. We know exactly how to handle you, right? So you want to show up with your machetes. You want to show up with your intimidating regalia. You want to show up and fuck around. You're going to find out. And I just loved it. That's the kind of energy that I want, right? That's the kind of energy that we need. You know why else we need a reminder of what we are voting for as well as against? Because it's incredibly important that we recognize what we are voting for and not only against. But take a look at this. Donald Trump in recent days, aside from going absolutely like nut shit bananas, has said that he is going to put RFK Jr., the wild-eyed conspiracy theorist who believes that vaccines are the devil, all vaccines, by the way, not just the COVID vaccine. And he wants to put RFK Jr., a man that does not have a doctor or an MD in front or behind his fucking name, in charge of women's health. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, in charge of women's health. And RFK Jr. said very clearly, yeah, I'd sign a national abortion ban. First off, you're not president, so you would be signing absolutely nothing. But to be fair, I'm not quite sure he knows how government works. But also, this man wants to remove fluoride from water, which is used to stave off waterborne diseases. he wants to eliminate and make it illegal for us all to get vaccines, right? So any vaccine won't happen in the United States. I mean, what could possibly, dear friends, go wrong there? Only everything. Um, the man looks like he gets his information from inside of a Cracker Jack box. And this is who Donald Trump is going to put in charge of health? But I mean, these are unserious people. But the seriousness that we are up against is the fact that, y'all take a breath with me. This week, we will find out whether or not RFK Jr. becomes a part of the second Trump regime, or we kick Donald Trump's ass back to where it belongs, which is out of politics. I just want you to understand that I've been talking about this for 9 years. 9 years. I started my original show, my flagship podcast, Woke AF. I started in 2017 as a response to the election of Donald Trump, because I said that clearly America must have been asleep in order to elect this rabid, racist, and misogynist pig as president of the United States. So I said, I'm turning on this microphone. People got to get woke. They got to get educated, because I believe that the more that people are educated and know, the less likely that they are to vote against their best interests. So for the last 9 years, I have been talking about Donald Trump, educating people on MAGA Republicans and their agenda, on their lies, on their weaponization of religion, right? On their hate brigade that they have been on the targeting, on the fact that, sure, it's Haitian immigrants today, tomorrow it's Puerto Rico, and the next day it's going to be you. Right? Like, let us be clear that I am grateful. If it turns out that Donald Trump loses this election, I am going to be grateful for the white women that opened up their fucking eyes. I'm going to be grateful for the Puerto Ricans around this country that were on the fence, which I don't know how, because the man went to your island and threw paper towels in y'all's faces. So how there were even Puerto Ricans that were going to be voting for Donald Trump, I have no understanding and comprehension of that kind of fuckery. But if Donald Trump loses, if we, the people, win, then what they have done, what they have laid out, their plans for America, friends, they're not going to go away. Be clear that Donald Trump will go away, but they will find somebody younger, slicker, with less fucking baggage to usher their Christian nationalism through. So what I pray is that these last 9 years woke America all the fucking way up. I hope that these last 9 years were the alarm clock that folks needed in order to understand that our democracy does not exist, does not thrive unless we have an educated and engaged citizenry, not just every 4 goddamn years, not just every 2 years, but every year. I hope that people are not just saying that they are exhausted and want to go back to sticking their heads in the sand until, guess what? Another snake enters, right? The garden. Because these people will not quit. They will find new avenues, new cracks. And so I tell folks, like, the last 9 years were a learning experience right? Whereas an eye-opening experience, because let me tell you something, as a queer woman, as a queer Black woman, child of immigrants in this country, I didn't need to be woken up. I was woken up from fucking elementary school the first time I was called the N-word, right? I was woken up the first time that I said to my mother in high school, I thought that racism was over. And then my mother looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I have done you a grave injustice by having you believe that America is not a difficult place for people like you, people like us." And so, for those people that have been able to exist inside of this country with rose colored glasses, believing that the world is your oyster, there are too many communities in this country whose experience has been quite the fucking opposite. But what Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans did over these last 9 years is that they basically said anybody can get it. We're coming for Black folks. We're coming for women. We're coming for trans kids. We're coming for the LGBTQ plus community. We're coming for people with disabilities. We're coming for gender studies. We're coming for your books. We're coming for your uterus. We're coming for everything. And so those of us that have always lived our lives on high alert, right? We were like, so we told y'all. They can use euphemisms, right? They can say, like Reagan did, oh, this is a war on drugs. The fuck it is. You're arming the very friggin' drug lords that are coming into this country pushing dope. What are you talking about? It's a war on Black people, right? Oh, the welfare queen. Who gets more welfare in this country? Poor white folks, right? Like, Donald Trump just put all of the dog whistles on a bullhorn and said, I don't give a fuck. Who gonna check me? Right? Like, that's what he did. And because of that ego, because of his audacity, people opened up their eyes and said, wait a minute. And then there was the final blow. The final blow, which I am referring to, right, as the overturning of Roe v. Wade, something that Democrats have used for decades and said they're going to come for Roe, they're going to come for Roe. And women, right, and men, they got real complacent. Nah, it's precedent. It's precedent. It will never go anywhere. It's the law of the land. But what did the MAGA Supreme Court teach us in 2021? Anybody can get it. Any law that you think has been written in stone, any law that you think protects you, anytime that you have ever said or uttered the phrase, it could never, it would never, Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans said, hold my beer. The overturning of Roe v. Wade, the overturning of affirmative action, the gutting of our voting rights, the diluting of environmental protections, the gutting of our public schools. All of this happened because of Donald Trump. All of it happened because we didn't believe in 2016 that Hillary Clinton was for us. And Donald Trump got 3 Supreme Court seats. So the thing that we have learned, I pray collectively over the last 9 years, is that anything is possible with a little imagination and a lot of fucking money. That is what Project 2025 is. It is a manifesto of how they see America and who they see as Americans. But you see, friends, I believe, truly deep down, I believe that these motherfuckers overplayed their hand. I believe that they went a little bit too far. You see, they thought these toxic, faux alpha, fake ass men, actually small boys, thought that they had their women in check, thought that their women were just going to follow behind them and vote the way that they vote against their own best interest. But you see, I think that there is something to the point of 1 in 4 women in this country have had an abortion. 1 in 4 women will be sexually assaulted. That's the reality of what it means to be a woman in this United States. So, taking away bodily autonomy, taking away the ability to decide how, if, and when you become a parent, they overplayed their hand. And you see, right now, women 65 and up are voting in mass in ways that they have not voted before. Because 65 and up, they know what a pre-Roe world looked like. And now their daughters and their granddaughters are going to have to experience the very thing they thought they put behind them. So tomorrow is our day. It is the day when the last group of Americans will decide who they are pulling the lever for. Is it for a petty, small, misogynist, racist dictator? Or is it for our future? Is it going to be an America that we know is never going to be perfect, but that each generation has the opportunity to perfect it, to push it, to stretch it, to expand, to fit all of us? Is that what we will see at the end of this week? I want to prepare you for a couple of things as I close out today. This is what the Harris team is expecting: that tomorrow night, there will be near complete results from Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Virginia, Florida, Ohio, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Arizona. Wednesday AM, most of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan should be in. Folks, a reminder that 2020, we did not know who won until that Saturday. We know good goddamn well that Donald Trump is absolutely going to announce that he has won before the polls close, before the final votes are tallied. Do not betray your faith in our system, in each other, in lieu of what this motherfucker is going to try and set up. And yes, I'm dropping a lot of MFers today. Sesame Street reminds us it's okay to feel anxious. It is okay to feel terrified and scared and nauseous and worried. But I want to remind us as I close out, from July to today, this woman, Vice President Kamala Harris, has won the most incredible campaign I have ever seen in my professional career. It was flawless. They left no stone unturned. They left no group right on the curb. They talked to everyone. They brought in everyone. They connected with everyone. This is something for us all to be proud of. It was incredible the way that Kamala Harris hit the ground running the day that Joe Biden stepped aside. It is something that I pray we look back on and celebrate and is studied for how campaigns should be run in the future, how they can inspire and be joyful and hopeful and exciting, because that's what politics should feel like. It's why I went into politics. The opportunity to help people on such a massive scale, the opportunity to change people's lives. That's why she got in to politics. That's why she does the work that she has done. And if you have not watched the ad that they dropped today called Mother, that I can't play right now, but is voiced by Viola Davis, please go and watch it. It brought tears to my eyes this morning. And finally, if you find yourselves tomorrow waking up feeling super anxious, I'm dropping in the chat. There is a massive phone banking that will be underway tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. And so I've dropped in the chat. It says Mary Trump Media. I've dropped it in the chat. It is a Google Doc for folks to be able to sign up. If you are feeling anxious tomorrow, you're feeling worried, folks, go do something. Go knock on doors. Go text message. Go connect with folks. It is going to be a long few days. And I encourage everyone to be in community with their people. Right after this, I am headed home to Long Island to be with my family for the next several days. My birthday is on Sunday. I can't even think past tomorrow. I am like, I can't see anything past tomorrow. So I will be here with you. So some programming notes. I am live tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. We will do Town Hall Tuesday tomorrow. So come with your questions, but do not ask me who's going to win the election, because I am not a soothsayer and I do not know. But we will do Town Hall Tuesday. Then streaming begins at 7 p.m. over on Mary Trump's channel. I will be dipping in and out, but I will absolutely be here tomorrow, 5 p.m., and we will be multi-streaming throughout the night. We will get through this. I encourage you guys, if you do not already follow me on Broke Down Twitter, on Instagram, please do follow me over there, because that is where I'm in the most action all the time. And we will get through. We will get through. We will meet dear friends on the other side. So do whatever grounds you. Do whatever grounds you. Pray, meditate, walk, play with your pets, water your plants. I just saged my entire apartment and myself before I came on. We will get through. We will make it to the other side. I am so, so grateful for all of your generosity today, friends. Your donations mean so incredibly much. It allows me, as an independent journalist, to continue to do this work, right? And you guys showing up, your kind words, your generosity, it means the absolute world to me. All right. It's election eve. Go do something. Go do something to shake out the energy, shake out the anxiety. I will see you back here, 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. As always, dear friends, power to the people, and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane, and in these extraordinarily dangerous times, my friends, stay safe. I will see you tomorrow. Be well. Okay? Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much.